Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your morning send off, designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So, today, as I was sitting in my meditation chair, I felt guided to focus on unlearning struggle in particular during this season of year. Wherever you are, generally speaking, for many people, this is considered a holiday season, a season where there's a lot of expectations around celebrating and belonging and all kinds of expectations and memories and associations with this time of year. And I also know that it's also a time where people can struggle. And I felt kind of almost overwhelmed with compassion because while this particular season for me isn't necessarily a struggle or difficult, I've had some really rough holiday seasons. And so I decided to dedicate the final 10 years of 2020 to providing seasonal support. So 10 days of seasonal support. And that's going to be the focus of the Rise and Receives moving forward into the new year. And so I hand-picked some cards that I thought were particularly supportive and helpful. And today's card is Receive Compassion. Receive Compassion. And I'm going to be doing a reading, and I'm actually going to start by giving you your willingness mantra. So let me give it to you right now. I'll do a little bit more of an intro, and then we'll move into today's day one of seasonal support. So whereas usually I kind of read the card and talk about it a bit, I thought it'd be really good for you to anchor yourself in this willingness mantra. Whether you feel you need it or not, it's always good. And in particular, if you're struggling during this time of year, this will be very supportive. So your mantra is, I am willing to receive compassion from myself. I am willing to receive compassion from myself. If you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I am passionate about teaching people how to receive their joyful fulfillment by unlearning struggle. Because what I've discovered over 20 plus years as a coach and a student of all things manifestation oriented and in the pursuit of goals is that while some struggle is natural to life, much of it is learned. And a lot of this learned struggle comes from both an internal conditioning from the families that we were grown in, our life experiences, as well as cultural influences that really validate what I call the doing model of power. So we get our sense of value and power and effectiveness in the world through thinking and doing. And while that's very necessary and a natural part of life, there's this whole other aspect of power and self-worth and effectiveness in manifesting your goals, which is rooted in the being model of power. And when you don't know how to receive, which is what the being of model is all about, then when you don't receive your fulfillment, you over-rely on what you know, which is more thinking and doing. So we really highlight and nourish the being model of power here. So with that, I'm going to actually read the whole card. And if compassion is something that you're really needing to connect with, then I will also be including a link to another video I did on this card. So you'll be able to really do a deep dive into compassion. In the meantime, I invite you to sit back, let these words wash over you, and let them just sink in, receive what's here for you, and then we'll unpack it a little bit more. So for those of you who are just joining me, the willingness mantra for today is, I am willing to receive compassion from myself. So here we go. Your capacity to receive is a way of being. Like a majestic tree which examines nothing and takes no action, the tree is fulfilled by simply being. Beyond that, the tree's impact and influence upon the world comes by way of standing, staying, and sharing. It stands as a living, breathing invitation to all of life. It never tries to change itself or the external world. Its own innate value comes from and is exemplified through a sense of natural worthiness. It receives everything it could ever need simply because it exists. It welcomes countless life forms, insects, birds, squirrels, wildlife, civilized life, humans, and on and on and on. It stays where it is planted. It sees no lack, for it knows that it is a part of life, and life is whole and complete. It would not exist if there were no earth or water or light. So it experiences life fully and receives all that life offers. As it does, the tree grows, expands, and occupies more and more space, power, and presence. It shares its entirety expansively. It provides soothing respite as cool shade and a place to rest. It offers beauty through its colors, textures, and flowers. It circulates nourishment as it bears fruit and releases its seeds abundantly across the lands to further impact, serve, and give. If receiving were a tree, compassion would be the rich, nourishing soil in which the roots grow strong and deep. When we embark on the journey of learning how to be fortunate receivers, we practice becoming more and more aware of how we are focusing our attention. If you focus your attention on yourself with blame, criticism, judgment, or shame, you will struggle. For this type of attention is toxic. The soil of your existence, that moment-by-moment awareness where you live, becomes like poison. Like a tree planted in toxic earth, your roots will become weak and your capacity to receive, grow, contribute, and expand will suffer. However, if you focus your attention on yourself with compassion, you will flourish. Instead of being mean, demanding, and unforgiving of yourself, you fertilize the soil of your awareness instead. Notice when the voices in your head are harsh. Pause this toxic self-talk. Take a breath and call upon willingness to give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Assume that at any given moment, you've done the best you can with what you know. Explore what words of kindness and gentleness would sound like for you, and remember your free will to choose another way. And if you're not able to be kind to yourself, for yourself, do it for your loved ones. When the soil is toxic for you, it affects all of the lives around you as well. Remember, receiving is the most generous thing you can do. So once again, your mantra for the day, which activates the power of invitation as opposed to intention, is this: I am willing to receive compassion from myself. So if you are struggling with this season, then I invite you to really notice if you are being mean to yourself, if you're being hard on yourself, if you're being demanding of yourself. One of the ways that we do this, because there are so many expectations about the holidays and about this season, is this comparison is the thief of joy, or compare and despair. We compare ourselves to other people, to expectations, to how we think we should be feeling. And so if we're not feeling that way, we will struggle. And so I invite you to say this mantra: I am willing to receive compassion for myself. Even if you don't know how, simply that willingness will invite all kinds of awarenesses, shifts, and relief. Okay. Now there's something I wanted to really illuminate, which is really remember the tree. Okay, because the tree in all of its power is the embodiment of being. And if you're concerned about not being able to contribute to others during this holiday season, if you're putting expectations on yourself, but you're really struggling, I invite you to just consider that your mere beingness, your mere presence is a contribution. Now, that may be foreign because you might have your sense of worth and contribution wrapped up in what you can do, or what you're able to do, or what you're able to give. And you might be comparing yourself and looking at yourself through the lack lens about what you can't do and what you can't be and what you can't contribute. Yet your mere presence is a contribution. And when you're willing to be compassionate with yourself, you open the door to discover how this is so. And if you think about the tree, while this card illuminates when it's at its healthiest or when it's flourishing in the springtime, consider that trees, when they are bare, when they are dark, in the winter, when there's no flowers and no trees, I know that many people look upon these trees with fresh eyes and see tremendous beauty in the tree itself. When it has no leaves, no flowers in the winter, there's a beauty about it. Okay? And so those aspects of ourselves that are bare, that are vulnerable, okay, that are dormant in the winter, when you go within, the vulnerability, your needs, your wants, your limits, your preferences are beautiful and lovable and wanted. And if you've never had that feedback, if you've never had that experience, I'm here to tell you this is true. This is the truth of who you are, because you are a part of life and nothing in life is ever missing. It's all part of the whole. So simply be willing. Just be willing. And if you can't be willing to discover how your needs, wants, vulnerabilities, limits, and struggles are lovable, wanted, and maybe you can even consider beautiful. Because here's the thing I know for a fact. Anytime that a person has shared their vulnerability with me, their humanity, even in their rawness, it gave me permission to be more of who I be. So your mere beingness is a contribution and a gift to others. All right? So that's the first part. The beingness is the contribution. Just be. And the second thing is compassion. Part of the message of compassion is compassion receives everything as sacred. Everything is sacred. So you don't just receive the good things and the celebratory things and the wonderful things of the season. Receive everything about yourself. All of it. Because as you do, you welcome home aspects of yourself that have been banished, rejected, denied, or shamed. And as you do, you start to experience your wholeness. You cannot be whole if certain parts of the whole are not welcome. So that's what compassion means, is let all of that be here. And when you soften judgment and shame around your expectations, you will find relief. Because you're already feeling, you might be struggling already. The judgments and the shame makes it even worse. So just let it be here with as much gentleness as you can. So I hope this provides some comfort and soothing day one of seasonal support. If you like this, if you think somebody else needs to hear this, please please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve, and I want to serve those who, in particular this season, who are struggling. If you're on YouTube, please hit the red subscribe button. It helps me, again, reach the people I'm here to serve. And if you want to take any next steps, there are both free, no-cost resources that you can check out, low-cost resources, and I'll include the links. All right. Have a good day, and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.